reports, reports within Smartsheet. Now, this is something personally that when I was first learning Smartsheet, I stayed away from. I didn't really understand reports, was hesitant to use it, and I was missing out on so many benefits that reports can do for you in Smartsheet. And the reports in Smartsheet consolidates multiple sheets and then filters them down so that you can see the exact criteria that you want to see. And the reports are dynamic. In other words, you can make updates and changes to them almost like a sheet. All right, let's dive into these reports. Hey guys, welcome to Workflow My Workload. I am your guide, Justin Orazio, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build reports within your Smartsheet. And if you haven't yet already, down in the bio below, in the description below, I've created a full-length lesson absolutely free. So all you got to do is click on it, sign up for it, and you'll have it free in your inbox within seconds. Again, please click on that free lesson down in the bio below. These lessons are why I do what I do, and that's helping you guys. And the lesson I created for you guys is actually a lot of different things that people have asked me more than anything else that I put all into one lesson. So don't forget to grab that. All right, let's dive into creating reports within your Smartsheet. All right, let's go ahead and jump into creating a report. And we're going to continue with the sheet that we used in the last video regarding automations, spaghetti noodles. And I'm going to actually use this very sheet and create a report out of it. And so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to add some more data to this sheet just so our report has something to work with. So for the assigned to, I'll go ahead and fill this column up with some random folks here. And we'll see. Go, we'll do that, and let's do, add this guy in there as well, some James Bond. Okay, and for the statuses, I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with some data as well. Actually, let's do not started for those. This is complete, not started. We'll just say in progress, in progress. Save that. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and add a helper column. And this may not make sense right now, but it will here in just a bit. So it's just something I suggest. Just create a helper column. Let's say helper column 1. I want to make it I'll do a checkbox. And I'm just going to check all the parent rows. And again, for the reminder, a parent row is anytime any data underneath it is indented. So this dark blue right here, row number 6, is a parent row. And then these are what's referred to as children, or the children rows. All right, so I'm actually going to hide this column. Right-clicking and click hide. And we'll click save. All right, now we have some more data. All right, now let's go ahead and actually create the report. So I got another tab here open, and you're just going to click on the plus sign here, and I'm going to click on report. Let's give it a title here. Let's say the noodle report ABC. And you get a choice between a row report and a sheet summary report. And the difference is, are you pulling data from the rows? 90% of the time, you're going to be choosing this one right here. It's going to be a row report. Every now and then, you may be pulling a report from sheets that are just looking at summary data. But for now, we're just going to do row report. Again, most of the time, it's going to be this option right here. Click OK. And it's going to go down the list, and it's going to ask you questions for source sheet, columns to display, filter criteria, how you want to group it, and then within those groups, how do you want to summarize it? Do you want to count it per group? You want to sum per group, average per group? And then most people don't use this. I don't find it very helpful, but it's called sort. But if you have all these other things filled out, this really doesn't take place. Doesn't really matter. Okay, first thing it's asking is sort the source sheets. So let's just type in the name. So our name is Spaghetti Noodles 1. So let's type in Spaghetti Noodles 1. And we'll go ahead and click next. And if you have the, depending on what tier of Smartsheet you have, you can have multiple sheets at once. So you can have multiple sheets, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes, where the report can pull multiple sheets. But right now we're just pulling from one sheet, Spaghetti Noodles 1. Click next. And now it's going to ask you the name of the column, the name of the columns that you want to show within this report. And the way Smartsheet does it is it does it alphabetically, which is kind of helpful, you know, if you're looking for specific things. But if you're wanting the report to look exactly the same way as the sheet does, you're going to have to go back and forth picking and choosing, because obviously on the sheet it's not alphabetical. It's task, duration, start, finish, predecessor. But here it doesn't start with that. It starts alphabetically. Okay, so all I really want to show is assign to. Let's do status. Let's do start and finish and percentage complete. And again, I'm just picking and choosing the columns that are in these sheets right here. That's what these are. All right, click next. The next thing it's going to do is ask for filter. Before I get into that, if you don't want to deal with this right now, just click outside of this box and it'll go away. The first thing I want to do is I want to arrange these columns a little bit. So let's go ahead and I'll just click and drag, move it over, do that, close these guys up a little bit. Drag this out. There we go. And what's nice is it gives you a column that doesn't exist in the sheet. It's just simply called sheet name. So again, if you're having one report that's pulling from multiple sheets at once, you can go directly to that specific sheet just by clicking on the link right there that they provide. So it's very, very helpful. And it actually takes you right to that row as well. It highlights that row for you. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to filter it. And to show you how filters work, let's say we want to filter to see all of the statuses that are in progress. So maybe we just want to see what these rows are. And you may be saying, well, Justin, I can see right here what rows are in progress. But if you have a sheet that has, 10,000 different rows and you need to sift through that, that's when filters really come into play, when you have a bunch of data that you just want to look at specific things. So I'll show you what that looks like. We'll click on filter criteria, and then it's going to ask you what column do you want to use to filter. We'll check on status, and we'll do, so you have all the different options here. Is blank, is not blank, is equal to, contains, it's just how it sounds. Contains is if it contains any part of that phrase or that word that you're putting in here, it will pull it. If you want it to be the exact phrase or the exact word, you're going to use is equal to, or is not equal to, the opposite. And same with the opposite of contains, does not contain, is one of, is not one of. So we'll go ahead and do is equal to in progress. So I click OK. It's just going to show the rows that are in progress. There we go, filtered it out. Now if I accidentally maybe added, now because it's equal to, if I accidentally added an extra S, just click OK, then it's going to show me nothing because it's equal to. But if I did contains, and I said in, just the word in, then it's going to show in progress because the word in is, it contains the word in it without having to type in the word progress. So just to show you the difference between is equal to and contains. All right, so that's how filters work. And if you want to add more than one filter, you can definitely do that. You can even group filters. So maybe I want to add another condition, and for the assign to right here, I just want to look at, let's just say Susan. So I'm going to click here, we'll do assign to, and I'll say is equal to Susan. Click OK. Now it's filtering what's in progress and only showing what's Susan. And you can do or and right here. If you do or, it's showing everything that has the word in progress in it or Susan. So I'll go ahead and go back. Do and. There we go. No. Okay. Sorry, my dog was chewing on the rug there. Okay. Now we can, I'm going to turn these filters off for now. And to do that, just click on the three dots. Click delete. Delete. And then let's go ahead and go to the next section here, the group. And say I want to group it by assign to. So I'll click here, click on assign to, and you can do ascending, descending, whatever one you want. And for now, I'm going to actually click on this box right here. It's the collapse the group. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to show you what this does. It just grouped everything by assign to. So we have Office Admin, James Bond, and Susan. And if you notice here, if I open this up, it's like it doesn't, no one is assigned to any of these. That's because these are those parent rows I was mentioning earlier. And so let me go ahead and open this up here. So all these parent rows, none of these parent rows have anyone assigned to. That's because it's not a task. And so I want to go ahead and remove these rows without deleting them. I don't want them to be shown in the report. So I'm going to go back to that helper column that we created. Remember, it's I'll click unhide. It's this guy right here. Helper column 1. I'm just going to go over here to the filter criteria. Refresh my page here. I think my Wi-Fi is getting a little slow. Go to filter criteria. I'm going to go to helper column 1. And I'm going to show everything that is unchecked. Because all the parent rows are checked, I don't want them shown, so I'm going to show everything that is unchecked. And again, everything here that is unchecked. So flour is unchecked, eggs is unchecked, but the parent row is checked. So I want to show everything that is unchecked. Go over to my report, is unchecked. Click OK. And it got rid of all the parent rows. Now it's just the children rows. Now I'm going to group it again by assign to. Collapse it and click OK. And now it's grouped by Office Admin, James Bond, and Susan. And if you want to open up individual ones, you can see Justin has 2, James Bond has 3, and Susan has, how many Susan has, what was that, 6, 7. But you're like, hey Justin, I want to be able to count these. So that's what the next one is. We're going to click summarize and click on here. And let's go to assign to. and it automatically picks it for you. It's the only option you can choose is count. Click OK. And now it's counting them for you. It gives you the total tally at the top. We know that Susan has 7. James Bond has 3, so on and so forth. And Justin, our office admin, has 2. And then it gives you the total tally at the top. Maybe you want to summarize it differently instead of by count, or excuse me, instead of counting assigned to, maybe you want to count the statuses, the different statuses. So we'll click OK. And then I'm going to open this up and expand it. And instead of grouping it by assigned to, I'm going to group it by status. There we go. So everything that is not started, so flour, eggs, knead the dough, not started, not started, not started, there's 3. Everything that's in progress, there's 6. And everything that is complete, 3. So complete, there's 3. In progress, there's 6. Not started, there's 3. And again, you can collapse it. And you can look at each one individually. And then sort is helpful if you're not using any of these filters. But once you have everything so confined and so filtered down to the nitty gritty, sort doesn't really do much for you. All right, so let's say the last thing, say we're pulling multiple different sheets. Well, there's a couple things to consider. So let me go ahead and ungroup this real fast. Take out the summary. And let's say we're having multiple sheets. So let me just do this. Let me just save as new. We'll call it Spaghetti Noodle 2. And click save. Let me change up the names here. Okay, there we go. Click save. And maybe this sheet, this is a completely different sheet. Maybe this sheet has a whole another column added. Let's add a column to the left. Let's call it test 5. And maybe this is, actually let's just do this. How hungry are you? And we'll just say test. Okay, click save. All right, so now we have multiple sheets going on here. We have Spaghetti Noodle 1 and Spaghetti Noodle 2. So if I go back to my report and I click in the sheet, and I can either search for it or I can just start typing it. Spaghetti, oops. One thing you have to do too is sometimes you have to just refresh the report if you created a new sheet, and it brings it up to speed so it knows, hey, there's more data that needs to be pulled in. So if you don't see it at first, just refresh the sheet. And let's go back. All right, let's start looking for it again. Spaghetti Noodle 2. So now we have 2 sheets, this sheet and this sheet. Click OK. And now it's pulling in data from multiple sheets. So we got All these are sheet number 1, and then all these are sheet number 2. And remember that extra column that we added? If you go to columns, you scroll to the bottom, we now see that this column is also here. But because it's only found in Spaghetti Noodle 2, it will always appear only in Spaghetti Noodle 2, that second sheet. And you can do the same thing, you can group it. Let's say assign to again. Click OK. And now we see that Justin Orazio from Spaghetti Noodle 2 is now assigned. He's now in here. Do the same thing. Maybe we want to do assign to. I want to count. James Bond has 7. Justin Orazio has 5. Susan has 10. Total count is 24. And that, my friend, is how the basics of building a report within Smartsheet. The report can grab multiple sheets at once. You can filter it pretty much however you'd like to see it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. All right, you guys, take care and God bless.